number one item left on your personal offseason grocery list for the transfer portal is at what position for Florida State?
Defensive line. I want another defensive tackle. I want another monster. I want a quantifiable, this guy's done it in a big league football player in the trenches. Yeah, I would say that. I'm all right with the 4 linemen they've brought in. I feel like you're going to get slightly more, certainly, than a modicum of success and uptick in play there. I feel already pretty good about, what we did bringing in Deuce Robinson. I feel good about that a lot. I like the tight end group. Feel like we're set at running back. Defensively, I already like the secondary. We've done a very good job with the linebackers we brought in. Listen, it's a work in progress. They're not going to be a juggernaut. We're not going to go from 2-10 to roll out there to 12-0 or something like that. But I think we're going to be appreciably better. But I do worry about us being able to hold up without enough depth on the defensive line right now. So that's an area I'd like to see improved.
For me, it's safety. I don't trust any of these guys. Not yet. Some it's lack of experience. Some I just don't know. I'm glad that Earl Little wants to get downhill and hit you. That's about the only thing I know about what this group currently that they have on the roster can do. I'm glad that Evan Cooper is in there now to take a look at that specific position, put his eyes on it. Maybe you can make a move after spring if he doesn't like what he sees and he can give you an honest assessment. But, I mean, whether it's Hussey or Shaheem Brown or Kirkland or Little, there's some other guys that might be in that mix. I don't know, man. Does that feel as inspiring as the defensive front as it's currently constructed or the linebacker groups? You got to have that. You got to have a guy who comes down and enforces.
I don't disagree. I'm just counting on these coaches to get the most out of a group that is talented. They just didn't always have it on display. Second down.
Rushing offense or rushing defense? What's going to be better this year?
Rushing offense. I mean, they're going to run the hell out of the ball. We just picked up 27 on that one, Tom. Third down.
All right. Well, just we've counted a lot of years, but the rushing offense is going to be good. So I'm checking.
No. He's done it with poor talent around him in the past. No, they're going to run the ball. Carson Beck to Miami. Let's talk about it. Bother you?
The game just got harder. The heads-up matchup, it just got more difficult. He'll be coming to town this year. Will Beck?
Looking forward to that game.
I would prefer all of my opponents are terrible. I'd like to be the Indiana fraud in the playoff field next year. This just got a little bit more difficult to pull that off. My first thought actually was about opening weekend. We all know who we play opening weekend. Do you know who Miami has to start next season?
Is it Florida again?
Notre Dame. They could potentially have Quinn Ewers and Notre Dame going down to Hard Rock Stadium to take on Beck and Miami, which would be one heck of an opening weekend game to pair with Florida State and Alabama. But, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like when my opponents improve. And this is most definitely an improvement over Emory Williams, which is the holdover that they have.
Well, but I don't think they were going to ride with Emory Williams. I think we knew that wasn't going to happen. But, yeah, I am kind of curious. So last year, obviously, they began the season by throttling Florida 41-17. Next year, as you say, they have Notre Dame to start, which will be fun. I mean, listen, we brought this up earlier. How lucky are we that we're getting some of these? Texas and Ohio State play next year in one of the opening games as well, and we play Alabama. If you're a college football fan, man, those are 3 really cool games out the gates, right? Carson Beck is a very good quarterback when he's right. I said that before the year began. I hated probably 4 games in to him being named the starter. When he took over the reins at Georgia, I saw NFL throws left and right. And I remember coming in here going, damn it, they just got better at quarterback. Look at this. This is unbelievable. This guy is an NFL player. He was making tight window throws. He was making anticipatory throws. He was getting to his 3rd and 4th read. He was running a professional offense, and I thought, this ain't good. We're going to have problems. Georgia's going to be riding high forever. But the sport is played by human beings, and they have ups and downs, and it affects them in certain ways. And with Carson, he was odd. He could be electrifying. He could make all the throws, and then the next game, he might be the reason they lose. It was very strange. So you got to hope that he is still that kind of uneven in next year. If not, if he maximizes his skill set and the tools that he has, then we're all in trouble because he'll light it up.
Well, and you just wonder about, the contagiousness of when you make a move like this and, you have a secondary portal window for either playoff teams or spring teams. That's how you can build an offense. Now, that's not, like you said at the outset, that's not their problem. They got to be competent on defense. And if they are, then this past team would have gone to Charlotte. And this past team probably was in the college football playoff. By making it to Charlotte, they probably would have gone to the college football playoff. So that's what they have in front of them. But Tony's comment is correct. It's all about the UCL tear. That was repaired surgically on December 23rd. In his throwing arm, the ulnar collateral ligament tear was repaired. We'll see. Is he damaged goods? Because if he isn't, he's going to perform. I know that there are ups and downs, but they just got a whole hell of a lot better if he's healthy. If he's not, though, then he could have just made a whole lot of money off of Miami to be a pop gun arm Drew Brees.
What it tells you is exactly what we've known and we've had discussions about in the past. It tells you that the NFL told him no. The NFL said, hey, man, you'll get drafted, but you're not getting drafted where you think you're getting drafted. You're not getting drafted where it would be worth you coming out. You can get $5 to $7 million from somebody in college that's going to take a chance on you because your very best is very, very good. And they'll be willing to take that risk. Get you the money, because if it's not right, first of all, NFL teams, you know how they prod and poke and do the things that they do regarding injuries. I mean, it is a cattle show at the combine. It's crazy. I mean, they probe and they push and they do all of the things. If you got anything wrong at all, they're going to find it. So you get to hide for a year, you get stronger for a year, and you get to get paid handsomely for a year. And it tells me that they told him he was getting drafted on Saturday. That's what it tells me. And otherwise, you would start your pro career. So the way I view teams on our schedule and the moves that they make, until we're viable again, until we matter again, until we bounce back from this depths of hell that we found ourselves in this year, I don't concern myself with it. I concern myself with what we're doing. And I don't say that to deflect from disappointing news that Miami just got better. They did. They were much better than we were this year, and they proved it in the game when we went down there, and that game ended up being closer than they would have liked it to be. But we were never really going to win that game. I think that was self-evident. But we were so bad that I concern more about what we bring in and how much better we're going to be. And then when you feel like you're somewhere close to even footing, then the big names that come and go at key positions really do kind of push you over the edge in terms of the good or the bad when you go free agent shopping, as we should call it these days, because that's exactly what it is. I mean, that's, that right now, get back to winning 8-9 games and get yourself in a position to matter where maybe a singular player is truly going to make the difference between whether or not you go to the ACC championship game or they do. We were so many players off last year that I can't get worried about it. I just can't.
Yeah, we've got our own problems. That's the way you look at it is, man, I don't like, you're asking specifically, do I like if Beck goes to Miami? No, I don't like when our opponents and our rivals improve, but they're ahead of us. They're ahead of us. And right now, we need to win the games we're supposed to win. That's the thing I love so much about the PFF grades, limited as they are. But when you take a look, you see a trend and a through line for all of Florida State's offensive linemen that came in. Every single one. Gunnar Hansen, Micah Pettis, and the two guys in between. When they played teams that were like competition or worse competition, they owned those games. They were all good against teams they should beat. And Florida State was not that last year. It is the antithesis of what we were. Teams that we had more talent than, we played down to or didn't care to play against. So it's nice to see that you're bringing in guys that can produce against teams that they should produce against. You need a whole bunch of those dudes to start getting antsy about the matchup with Miami and say, well, we could win this and maybe go to Charlotte. We're not there yet, but we're building towards that place. Meanwhile, they're in a different place where it's playoffs or bust because they were one of the biggest disappointments in college football this season.